Are you exhausted from trying to fix things outside of you? You replay conversations. You analyze tone. You wish your spouse would change. You wish your kids would respond differently. You wish this season felt a bit different than it does. And the truth is, if controlling circumstances worked, I would teach you how to do that. If managing everyone else's behavior solved loneliness, confusion, or identity loss, we just double down on that strategy. But it doesn't work. And that's the real problem. The more we try to manage the outside world, the more powerless we feel inside. And when that fails, we don't slow down to examine what's really happening. We rush past the facts. We mix our thoughts with the facts. We think we're stating reality, but we're telling a story. And that story is shaping your next chapter more than the emptiness ever will. If you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling unsettled and don't know why, if you keep thinking, why do I feel this way? Nothing is technically wrong. This episode is for you. Today, we're going to show you how to separate facts from thoughts so you can stop trying to control what you can't and start creating what you can. Every woman I coach who learns the skill feels steadier within weeks, not because her circumstances change, but because her clarity does. And clarity changes how she shows up. This is facts versus thoughts. This will make your next chapter. Welcome to Create Your Best Empty Nest. I want you to picture one woman. Her name is Lisa. Her youngest just left for college. The fact is simple. Her son moved into the dorms 3 weeks ago. Notice how facty, how many details I put into that fact. That will help you get leverage on your facts. It was her son, and he moved into the dorms, and it was 3 weeks ago. Very specific. That's it. But inside Lisa's brain, her thoughts are, I'm not needed anymore. I should be grateful. Why am I sad? I've wasted so many years. I don't even know what I like. She scrolls at night. She avoids thinking too hard. She keeps busy but feels empty. She doesn't book a call because she thinks, I shouldn't be struggling. Other women handle this just fine. She wants relief from the ache. She wants to feel steady. She wants to wake up and feel useful again. She wants to feel like herself, but she's not sure who she is anymore. If this sounds like you, you're not alone. And by the end of this episode, you'll know the difference between a fact and a thought. Understand how your thoughts are creating your emotions. Stop shaming yourself for grieving. Choose one thought that opens action and take one step toward your next chapter. And we're going to be doing that today. Number one, the fact is neutral. The story is not. Facts can be proven in a court of law. They are what somebody said, how many pounds you weigh, exactly when something happened. Very factual. And you want them to be as factual as possible. That helps your brain realize. And it's interesting how the same fact can create a completely different story for different people. Some women I talk to, after their youngest child leaves home, my son moved to the dorm 3 weeks ago. Some women say, I'm free. And some women say, what now? I don't know who I am anymore. Same fact, different thoughts. So here we go. Facts are neutral. My youngest moved to college 3 weeks ago. That's a fact. The thought, I'm obsolete, that's a thought. Your brain treats thoughts like facts. That's why they feel heavy and true. And they make these stories in our brain, and we have lots of evidence for them. Jody Moore teaches this beautifully. The chain is simply our circumstance or our facts create our thoughts, which create our feelings, which create actions or what we do. and that creates our result. So, what results are you creating in your life? The beautiful thing is, it connects back to what you're thinking. And this is not fluffy. Research in cognitive psychology shows our emotional responses are shaped by the interpretation of events. So, the facts. What our emotional responses is how we interpret the facts, not the events themselves. So, not the facts themselves. Your brain assigns a meaning automatically. It creates stories about what happens, what someone says, how much you weigh, when your child left home, automatically. But automatic doesn't mean permanent. This is the skill we're teaching today. So here's a few examples. About a year ago, I got a ticket for not stopping completely at a stop sign. And all of you know that feeling when you look behind you and there's a cop driving. So the example is a cop is driving behind me. So the fact would be a police car is behind me. Okay. A police car is driving right behind me. That's just a fact. But your thought is, what did I do wrong? What's happening? And that's what creates the emotion in your body. You might feel fear or scared, and your behavior might be you drive too slow, or you slam on your brakes, or you stare in your rearview mirror and you don't see, look what's going in front of you. And then your result is, I'm anxious and more likely to mess up. Your thought was, what did I do wrong? Your result is, you're more likely to mess up. The cop didn't create that fear. Your thought did. Here's another from our example named Lisa. Your youngest started college and moved to the dorms 3 weeks ago. Your thought, I'm not needed, creates sadness or shame. And your actions, you withdraw or you scroll or you avoid. And the result is you feel more disconnected and more purposeless. Your thought, I'm not needed. Your result, you feel more of that. So nothing has gone wrong, but your brain just is telling you stories of the facts that are happening in your life. So today, write down one painful sentence that's running around in your head, one thought. Then ask, is this a fact or is it a thought? Just separating them, it calms your nervous system. And the facts, remember, are going to be factual, specific, numbers, as facty as possible. If, as I'm explaining this, you're realizing, oh, I've been mixing the facts from the thoughts for years. That's exactly the kind of thing we untangle in my next chapter, Jumpstart Call, where we slow down your real situations and clean up the circumstance line, the facts from the thoughts. Okay, number 2, feelings are created by thoughts, not circumstances. This is good news, my friends. Emotions are just vibrations in your body, but they're caused by your thoughts. And here's the part in this stage most people miss. Grief is clean pain. Shame is dirty pain. Grief says, I miss this season. Shame says, I shouldn't feel this way. What's wrong with me? I should be so thankful. Research on empty nest transition shows that mixed emotions are normal and common in this stage of life. It's not a diagnosis of you, it's a development shift. So you're not broken, you are transitioning. And when you push down emotions, they pop back up stronger. When you let them roll through you, they will pass faster. It's like a beach ball, trying to push the beach ball down. It just keeps popping back up, popping back up, popping back up. So try this take-home tip. What am I feeling right now? Where is it in my body? Is it tight? Is it heavy? Is it warm? What color is it? And let it just move through you. Realize they're just vibrations in your body. You don't need to fix it. You just need to feel it. And really, it takes about 90 seconds. Okay, next point. The real problem is the meaning you're making. So this is where identity sneaks in. Lisa isn't grieving the dorm room. She's grieving who she thought she was. I am not the needed one. I am the glue. I am the one they rely on. And when that role shifts, she panics. But here's what I teach. Identity is not created. It's not discovered. You are not losing value. You are losing a role. There is a difference. Your value is inherent. It's like $100 bill crumpled up in your pocket. It's still worth $100. So, Dan Sullivan in the book, The Gap and the Gain, he talks about this beautifully. Are you measuring the gap, what you lost, how your kids have moved away? I'm not who I used to be, or the gain? Look at the woman I become. You've raised humans. You built a home. You navigated seasons. This is the gain. What we focus on, we will see. Whether you think you can or you think you can, you're right, because your brain will go to work making that true. Your thought becomes your direction. And the good news is, my friends, you get to choose your thoughts. So here's your take-home tip. Ask yourself, what am I making this mean? And then blow up that thought, not yourself. And if you're noticing how powerful it feels just to separate one thought from facts, imagine doing that with your marriage, your faith, and your relationship with your adult kids in one focused conversation. That's what we do inside the Next Chapter Jumpstart call. Okay, next point. Choose one thought that opens action. Not toxic positivity. I'm not talking about just being positive all the time, because you're human. But not everything's amazing. Just one thought that preserves your faith and open possibility. Tries this. One thought, I'm not needed, to my roles are changing. Just see how that's so different, that thought. And that will create your feelings and your actions and your results. Okay, notice how that feels. Old feeling, I'm not needed. The feeling is sadness and shame. But the new feeling is tenderness or curiosity. My role is changing. I wonder what's going to happen next. What can I create next? Curiosity leads to action, and action leads to identity. We don't act because we're trying to avoid discomfort. You're not stuck. You're avoiding feeling unsure. But guess what? New chapters always feel unsure. The best time to change your life is a change in your life. If you're transitioning into becoming an empty nester, that's the best time to change your life, because a change is happening in your life. Recently, I went to a business conference and I didn't even know what the word copy meant. And you probably don't know what it means either. All it really means is the words you write, the emails you write, what you write in an Instagram post, whatever. And I felt behind because they kept talking about copy and I had no idea what they were talking about. Everyone looked confident. I felt like I was walking into the wrong room. The problem wasn't the learning curve. It was a story I was telling myself, the thought, there's one right way to do this, and I am doing it wrong. That evening, I went to dinner with 3 coaches that were teaching this conference. Each of them told me a different way they did things, and completely different. And I realized there is many right ways to do this. There wasn't one right way. There was 100. That's the empty nest reinvention too. There's not one right way to do this season, and you don't need to swallow the whole future. Just take one bite. This is your practical take-home tip. This week, I want you to practice one simple discipline. When you feel emotionally charged, slow down and clean up the circumstance, the fact line. Instead of writing, my husband doesn't respect me, make it factual. What actually happened? My husband walked into the room while I was talking and said ... Next. Or he responded to my text 6 hours after I sent it. Or he said, we'll talk later. Those are facts. Now notice the thought. He doesn't care. He's dismissing me. I don't matter. That's the story. And the beautiful thing, my friend, is you choose the story. Remember, your brain will do it automatically if you don't slow it down and choose it. So don't try to change the story yet. Just separate it. Fact on one line, thought on another. Because the moment you separate them, you can create space. And space is where power lies. Most women skip this step. They mix the two together and then they wonder why they feel overwhelmed. Your brain wants drama. You're going to give it clarity. So here's the simple exercise. When you feel upset or emotionally charged, write fact and then write it out as facty as possible. My thought about, and write that out. That's it. No fixing, no reframing. Just clean separation and watch what happens. Because when you get more facty in your facts, your next chapter stops feeling chaotic and starts feeling intentional. Okay, here's what I want you to remember today. Your empty nest is a circumstance. It is a fact. My youngest moved to college 3 weeks ago. All of my children have moved out of the home. That is a fact. I'm not needed. That is a thought. And when you could tell the difference between those two things, you take back your power, because thoughts are optional sentences in your brain. And thoughts are neutral. And when you believe that your thoughts are facts, they start defining you. They shape your emotions, they drive your inaction, and they quietly rewrite your future. Your identity was never needed mom. Your identity is a daughter of God, and that has not changed. Not when the house got quiet, not when your calendar opened up, and not when your roles shifted. A role changed, your worth did not. Like a $100 bill, you did not lose the value because your assignment changes. So this week, I don't want you fixing your life. I want you noticing your thoughts. When you hear, I'm behind, pause. When you hear, I should be handling this better, pause. When you hear, I don't know who I am anymore, pause. Ask yourself, is that a fact or is that a thought? The story I'm creating in my head. That one question creates space. Space to grieve cleanly, space to act intentionally, space to choose how you show up, to choose how you want to show up in this next chapter. Awareness alone will steady you. You don't have to rebuild your identity. You get to intentionally build your next chapter. If you'd like help untangling the facts from the thoughts and the stories in your real life and choosing one thought that moves you forward, book a next chapter jumpstart call. Go to marianneiverson.com/call. That's Marianne with an I and an E on the end, iverson.com/call. In one focused conversation, we'll clear the mental fog and identify the next intentional step. Thanks for being here today. I'll see you next week.
If this felt familiar, you're not alone. I created a short quiz, Who Am I, after the kids leave. It helps you name what actually is going on for you in this season and what you might need next. You'll find the link in the description. And if you want more conversations like this, you could subscribe. I'm here every week.